Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about how to build a strong career in tech. I'm sure at any point, whether you're just starting out or further along in your career, you've had the questions of how do I take my career to the next level? What are the right steps? Before we go any further though, make sure to hit that subscribe button, like, and comment what other videos you want to see. Also, I want to give a big shout out to a few users here who always have awesome questions and comments, so thank you very much. I really appreciate you all and all of your support. Although a successful career looks different to, I think, everyone of what that really entails, there are definitely a few key things in order to grow your career and help take it to the next level that you need to keep in mind, whether it's starting and you're just kind of figuring out what your first steps are, or you're further along in your career. There are some staples that, regardless of where you're at, will really help elevate your career. The first one is stay connected. Staying connected has never been more important. You know, I remember when I was first getting my first job, I thought, how am I ever going to get my first job? People keep on talking about networking. It's really not that big of a deal, but I can tell you firsthand, networking is everything. Knowing the right people, knowing people who are hiring or who need employees is the first thing I think out of anything that will really help take your career to the next level. Either start it or continue to network throughout your career. Don't take it for granted right when you have a job that, hey, I got a comfortable job, now I can kind of sit back. If you are someone who wants to kind of take your career to the next level, you're going to need to maintain networking throughout your career. Now, obviously, before there was COVID, this was much easier to do in person with different networking events, meetups, different things like that. For me, I live in Toronto and I would go to a ton of different kind of tech meetups or different tech events throughout the city, and what's great about that is everyone there is pretty much in the same shoes as you. They want to meet other people, they want to network. I mean, you're at a meetup or a networking event. But now, you know, everything's kind of online and gone virtual. What you can do is there still are some online events, and although it's not near as easy to connect with people virtually through online events, a great way to do is, say you're at an online event, still go to them, they're really important. Find some names or people who are asking questions that really stand out to you, or maybe it's a speaker you really like, and then hit them up afterwards through an email or message and just say, hey, you know, I really enjoyed the talk you gave, or I really you asked some really thought-provoking questions, and it's still a great way to kind of get your in, I guess you could say, with connecting to that person. Another thing I really like to do is stay connected through social media. Twitter is a huge platform where there's a lot of prominent figures on there that kind of, you know, give little tidbits about what they're working on or what their thoughts are on something that's coming down the pipeline. And although I'm not personally heavy on Twitter as far as, well, actually I'm not on Twitter like tweeting anything. You can tell I'm not on Twitter. I don't even know what the terminology is, but if I know I want to, you know, hear something, or there's a hot topic coming up and I want to hear some specific people's feedback or thoughts on it, Twitter is, I'll just log on to like a kind of random account I have but I don't post anything on, and just see what they are talking about, their thoughts on it, because I feel like that's a really great platform to help you stay connected. Also with Instagram, I think it's a great platform that kind of gives more tidbits of information. At the end of the day, you really need to curate your social media and follow people or different kind of figures that will help you stay connected. Okay, so now you have networking down pat, you have your kind of community to go to. What's next in strengthening your career in tech? The next most important thing, in my opinion, is to upskill. Tech is moving at such a quick and fast rate that if you are someone who is kind of complacent and doesn't really want to continue to learn, fine, you can stay at your current role, I'm sure, and do well at it, but you're not going to be able to take your career to the next level and really grow it. In order to kind of make that next move, get that promotion, a lot of times I would say, if not always, it's partially because you took the time to grow your skill set. And I'm not saying you have to spend, you know, hours and hours going back to school or studying a different kind of technology, but make sure you continue every single week to kind of level up your skills, whether it's even just reading about different technologies coming down the pipeline, or whatever your kind of area specialty is, spending some time learning of what's in demand, what are, you know, people who are in university learning about this. And I really think being in the know, but also to whatever level of degree, having a grasp on the new technology is actually it's so key in order to level up your career. For example, for myself anyways, I know as a software developer, things are changing, I would say every day, but it feels like every minute, every second, I don't know, a lot. And it can be very overwhelming at times. So sometimes I almost want to shut down and be like, you know what I know, I'm good, which is not the right attitude at all. You need to be more open-minded and just willing to learn and upskill. You already have the job at this point, so why not just take up your career, take up your skills in your career by just learning something new. And I think that's one of the best and most exciting parts of being in tech, is that you are constantly and continuously learning. Although sometimes it can be a little bit of a pain, it's a necessity in order to stay relevant in the tech industry. Okay, for number 3, it is have an open mind. And what I mean by that is similar to what I just spoke about with upskilling, constantly learning and growing your skills. Make sure you aren't just being so narrow-minded or have blinders on that you don't really see the big picture or what else is out there. I've seen too many people really pigeonhole themselves into one very specific path or one very specific career path, and that's great. There definitely is a demand for that, and you can grow your career that way, but I think more than not, it's important to be able to really have an understanding at least of all the other roles around you, what other people are doing, how the building blocks fit together. This will become more and more important, especially as you continue to grow your career. The more higher up you become, obviously, you are going to be doing different tasks than, say, someone at a lower junior level. But as you grow higher and higher, you should have a better understanding of the full kind of umbrella, the full picture, in order to really make decisions that are informed. One of the best things as well when you are starting your career is you can a lot of times try different roles, try different things, whether it be, say you're building websites one day and then you can kind of switch into iOS development. Obviously depends on your company. If you're a product-based company and just using one language or one specific product, maybe that's a bit harder and something that you need to do on your free time. But if you are working for an agency or company where you're constantly working on different projects, a really positive benefit of that is you can try working with different languages, maybe different roles. Really try and push to get as much experience in different roles as possible. For myself, I started out in quality assurance, and I knew from the beginning I didn't want to do that long term. However, it was such a great experience to really get an understanding of what it's like to be in the QA's shoes and what they go through on a day-to-day basis. And now as a software developer, it's whatever the client needs that I build at the end of the day. But there are so many, I'm kind of in this really great space right now where, I can choose what I want to do. Do I want to specialize in blockchain? Do I want to go more into cybersecurity? What kind of area interests me? And the only way to really know that is to kind of start playing around and trying it out. And you don't have to do anything to commit to it yet, but at least just have an open mind. Okay, tip number 4 is know your worth. And before I get into this, I'm going to tell you a little bit of a personal story with this one. So when I first started out, as I mentioned, I started out in quality assurance. And at the time I was at a very small startup, and I was just so thankful to have a job. I went to university, then I went to a boot camp, and even just the idea of having a job was exciting in itself. Okay, finally, Tiff, you got a tech role, you're good to go. And it didn't faze me that I was not being paid properly or that the company was not being run properly or anything like that. I was just so happy to have a job that I didn't really, filter or even consider my worth. Is this something that I should be doing? Is this a place where I should be? Or am I just doing this because I'm so happy to have that first job? And looking back, it was definitely, I'm so happy to have that first job rather than actually a company that I maybe wanted to work for or even should have been at. And that kind of trickled down later in my time at that specific company. And what I mean by that is at first, you're so excited to have a job and ready to kind of put in all the work, and you kind of, anything that's kind of a red flag, you just kind of push to the side because you're so happy to have that job. The problem comes in is when you start getting comfortable and you can see your skill set and your worth isn't aligning to necessarily the company's how they are treating you or what they see your worth as, and that can be a big problem. So for myself, what happened was after a while, I started resenting going to work. It was, I don't even know the words. It was a really negative experience every day in and day out. I didn't want to be there. I didn't feel like I was learning or growing, and I didn't feel like I was being put to my worth. I didn't feel like I was being valued. So what happened was eventually, near the end of the time, it gets to a point where you're not doing good quality work because you don't want to be there. You're miserable and you resent the company. So when I say know your worth, what I mean is ensure that wherever you are at in your career, especially if you are just starting, you don't just take the first thing that comes your way or the first opportunity that looks kind of bright and shiny. Make sure it's something that aligns with your expectations. You're interviewing them just as much as they are interviewing you, I always say, during the interview process. And just really be aware of that, because what can happen is if you just kind of accept the first offer or go with what sounds good but you don't really look into it, is you end up jumping around a lot from place to place. And although to some degree that's acceptable in the tech industry, I would say, you know, a lot of people jump around after 2 to 3 years from company to company. If you're able to find a company that you can grow long term with, I still think that's a really great way to go, especially long term, for leveling up your career, growing with a company, and getting promoted internally. That's a whole other kind of thing though, but knowing your worth right from day one is essential. What happens is you end up resenting the company if you feel like later that you just accepted the job to have a job. And obviously sometimes, you know, we have to do what we have to do, but really keep that in the back of your mind that, can I see myself growing here? Can I see myself staying here? Do they know my worth? Do they want me to grow? Those are all really big things that you need to consider. Okay, those are my top tips for building a successful and long, really great career in the tech industry. It is definitely possible and doable without burning out. And I really think those are the things that have helped me along my journey thus far. I'm by no means a senior in the tech industry. I call myself intermediate. I've been in it for 4 years, so maybe I'm even a little bit lower than intermediate, but I like to think myself as intermediate. Anyways, but let me know down in the comments other things that have really helped you have a very long and successful career in tech, or if you are just starting out, things that have helped you kind of make that first move into your first job or first role. Also, let me know other videos you want to see. I will make sure to give you a shout out in future videos. Like and subscribe for more tech and coding related videos, and I will see you all soon. Thanks, everyone.